Never been so much fun, boy. Never been so much fun. Go to your brother, kill him with the gun, leave him lying in his uniform, dying in the sun, boy.
Hi everyone, and welcome to a video special on the Zzap Live Event 2023, which were held at the time of recording this yesterday, Saturday, the 12th of August. And obviously Zzap was a magazine for the Commodore 64 back in the day, and the organiser who now owns the rights to Zzap and Crash and all those magazines, he hosted the event, he organised the event, and yeah, I've been looking forward to this for quite a while, but I'll admit it wasn't quite what I was expecting. I'll go through it as I talk about it. I've got quite a lot here that I've written down. I'm going to start off from the very beginning, which was when we got to the hotel. Me, Lorraine and Joe made the trip down to Kenilworth for the event, and we stayed at this hotel. I couldn't get into the Oldie Inn. It was absolutely packed out at the time when I wanted to book it, so the nearest one was the Peacock Inn, which was just down the road. But yeah, it were a bit faulty towers really. Basically, it took an age to get checked in. We got there, we got to reception. The lady behind the reception was dealing with a customer, and basically what happened was we were left hanging in the pub's restaurant, or the hotel's restaurant dining area, for about 20 minutes. I ended up ringing the hotel and saying, you know, look, what's happening? We're sat down here. We've been waiting to get checked in. Somebody did come and checked us in, but yeah, I mean, it's not really good, is it, when you've got guests waiting around, waiting to be checked in. Anyway, the hotel were all right. It was a little bit rough around the edges. But we're only there one night, so you know, it is what it is. Anyway, on to the event, and the main event was from 10 till 5, I think it was, 5 or half 5. And when we got there, we met up with the Retro Bears, Russ and Claire. As always, it's lovely to meet them, and we had a lovely time with those, having a chat with you. Well, I think a lot of time we did actually spend a lot of time just sat down having a drink and having a bit of a laugh. But the event was really, it was really weird, because me, Russ and Claire waited outside because Lorraine hadn't got a ticket, obviously, so she was just going to wait in the pub area, what we thought was outside of the event. But what happened was Lorraine and Joe just went in, nipped in, but they actually entered the event unchallenged. So they came out and they says, no, we think the entrance is this way. So we all walked in, just walked straight into the event. We actually had to find someone to scan us tickets. It was a case of if we didn't want to do that, we didn't have to, or it seemed that way. Yeah, there were just so many ways into the event that it wasn't monitored as such. So anybody who hadn't bought a ticket maybe just decide, oh, what's going on here, I'll have a look in, could have just walked in. So, you know, and thing is, you spend a lot of money to go to these events, you would at least expect it to be barriered off, locked off wherever it is possible to get in, and have some kind of scanning system, you know, or the wristband or stamp to say you've paid to get in there. This video could go on quite long, and it's probably more ranting than than praising, if I'm honest. And I didn't want it to be like that, I really didn't, but I'm afraid it's just the way it was. I did get to meet a few people. Obviously we met Russ and Claire. Mark were there, Judge Drock, and I know Mark spoke to a lot of people. He knew a lot more people at the event, so as far as I know, Mark enjoyed it. We met up with Matt, or runs the channel Witchfinder 76, Matt Corn, and it was nice to have a chat with Matt, who I've only ever seen on YouTube on his channel. We both share the same likes for Commodore, and we both, well, Mark's one game away from the Silverbird full set, so you know, we share a lot in common. And me, Russ and Matt, we've got a little project lined up that we're going to be shortly implementing, so looking forward to that. Yeah, there were a lot of people there, and the layout was, again, it's not what I expected. I expected it being pretty vast. I did expect like a hall, like a big conference hall, and I believe the crash event was like that at Walsall Football Stadium. For whatever reason they couldn't get that venue again, so they moved it to this Holiday Inn at Kenilworth, and it was just divided up into small rooms, and I mean they were small. It was divided up. You had the Commodore 64 room, you had the Amiga room, Commodore Amiga room, you had the Q&A room, which was for the, you know, all the stars of the event. You'd got the Ocean guys, you'd got a couple of Sensible Software guys, John Eyre, Stu Cambridge, Jeff Minter, he were there as well doing talk. You couldn't get in. You could not get into that room unless, you know, you waited for one Q&A to finish and you were straight back in. It were a bit too small. Apparently, Mark told me the room only held about 80 people, but 500 people at the event. So as you can imagine, like I say, it was pretty crammed. The Commodore 64 room, my favourite out of the event. It had plenty of Commodores, all different kinds of Commodore systems set up, playing games. You were able to play the games and such. There were a couple of stalls, and I will show you a couple of pickups that I got. The first being off Mrs. Bear. Mrs. Bear bought me this, the Zzap Live 2023 t-shirt, and she got Russ one as well, bless her. So thank you very much for that, Claire. Really appreciate that. It's lovely. It fits lovely as well. Some room for my belly. But yeah, me and Joe, we had a walk around the Commodore 64 room, and I came across the Cytronic stand, which was probably the best thing, probably one of the best things about the event. And I managed to pick up some homebrew games, which is what Cytronic do. Modern games for the Commodore 64. So what did I pick up? I picked up this Abbage Day Morts. So this is in a clamshell. This is a limited edition game. So they always release a clamshell with the exclusive limited edition sticker on the front. This was £20. Let's see if we can get the screenshots to focus. It's quite it's a platform game by the looks of it. I don't know all about any of these games. In fact, I've only looked up one game on YouTube, and that is this, Polar Bear in Space. This was £10, as you can see, and it's a mixture of horizontal scrolling shooter, shoot 'em up, and platformer. And the guy who I saw a review of this said that he took inspiration from two games, which were Drop Zone and Whizball. Looks a good game. Next we've got the Amazon Trilogy. This was £8. These are all on cassette. They do big box versions which have the cartridges in, but I'm not too bothered about collecting the cartridge versions. I think this is by Alf. I can never pronounce his surname. Alf Inga, and he creates games using the shoot 'em up construction kit they've been modified a little bit to add music and power-ups and stuff, but yeah, they're all basically made on the shoot 'em up construction kit. And then the last game from Sidetronic, which the cover is very familiar. This is Hammer Down. I don't actually know what game this is reminiscent of because I haven't even opened it yet. I haven't even looked online neither. But as you can see, that cover looks very much like Action Biker Clumsy Colin. It was sponsored by Skips back in the day. Lovely cover that. And I noticed they had a badge, a box of badges, polar bear in space, and I tell them, I says, oh, I do collect badges. And give me this for free, and he also give me that, an Amiga badge as well. So, chuffed to bits with those. So back to the event. Well, there's not really much else to say about the main event. Like I said, in between the rooms were a corridor with some arcade machines. There was also a seating area alongside the bar, which had a big screen TV which was streaming the questions and answers room. But the volume was too low, you couldn't really hear it, unless you probably sat down right next to the TV. But there was always somebody there sat down. Anyway, so yeah, the Amiga room, had a quick walk through there. Again, there were all kinds of Amigas set up, playing different games. Russ and Claire mentioned that one of them had got bomb jacks set up. But I think it was a co-op one, I'm not sure. But the thing was that some of the Amigas looked really nice. A lot of them had transparent cases. One of them even had like a rusty orange case. I like that one. Some of the joysticks, custom made joysticks. Yeah, they all look really nice. And so yeah, I mean, you know, from that aspect, seeing all the different systems, it was nice. I just didn't feel that there were enough, certainly to warrant the full day. Like I said, we spent a lot of time actually just sat outside of the event, in the hotel bar. Me, Lorraine and Joe with Russ and Claire having a little chat. So yeah, on to the night event then, which I was looking forward to really even more than the main event. And again, it wasn't quite what I expected, so a little bit disappointed. I've got some footage of John Eyre playing, which I'll show you now.
To know that you can mean so much to me, to know that you can be so unbelieving.
And I just grabbed a quick video of the follow-up artist, which was TDK Mark Knight, doing his slot. I'll show you a little bit now. But yeah, basically I got there about, the event started about 7:30. It was supposed to run 7:30 till 11, and I just thought it was going to be loads of Commodore 64 SID tunes from famous composers, Rob Hubbard, you know, Martin Galway, Jaden Tell, all kinds of famous tunes from Monty Mole, Parallax, you know, all the usual Commando, all the usual suspects being played, possibly remixed. That could have been later on, to be honest, but as I'll explain. So yeah, I got there about 8:15ish. There didn't seem to be much life, so I got a drink and I sat down, And weirdly enough, I got taught this other guy come and sat down next to me, and it turns out his name was Tim Gilbert of Gilsoft. He actually had a stall in the Commodore 64 area. I didn't actually see it because he was tucked away in the corner. And he wrote adventure games for the Commodore 64. He converted a lot of the famous Commodore adventure games, including the ones that I've got as a subset, the horror ones by CRL. So I had a good quarter of an hour chatting to Tim, and it was really nice to chat to him. And it's a shame I missed him in the main event, because you know, probably he'd have shown me some of his work and what have you. But anyway, I said I'm going to have a walk into the room because I can't hear no music. And I thought it should have started by now. Turns out the doors were shut. But there wasn't no music anyway, because when I walked in there, it was absolutely packed. All the seats were taken. There were people around the edges. And they were doing a Q&A session with some of the musicians. Which is... no, it's not fine. The thing is, it lasted about 45 minutes. I respect that, you know, people like to hear stories from them and stuff like that, but I was there for the music. I wasn't here to listen to generic answers to questions, which I'm sure they're being asked thousands of times. They're sick of it, and, you know, the vague answers, really. Let's face it. But anyway, Q&A on that part wasn't my cup of tea. If I could have got into the Q&A room in the main event anyway, for me it would have been better to have the Q&A through the day and just get on with music at night. So the first slot after the Q&A had finally finished. We had John Eyre of Sensible Software doing his slot. Don't get me wrong, John Eyre's a fantastic musician. He's produced some great tracks on you know, on his games, but he was doing a lot of his own stuff, which wasn't gaming related. It was just his own songs, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, but that really suitable for the event. You know, we're there to hear the game music, at least I were. So he did finish off with Cannon Fodder, which I will play a little bit for you now.
Oh, never been so much fun, boy. Never been so much fun. Go to your brother, kill him with the gun, leave him lying in his uniform, dying in the sun, boy. Boy.
And then we moved on to TDK, Mark Knight. He's actually, I can't honestly tell you which software house he worked for. He did mention it in the Q&A, but I won't listen. But he's handled TDKs from the Cracktros for the Commodore 64. He used to do a lot of Cracktros and a lot of music for that. He was doing his slot, and he did a couple of tunes. It was about 10:30. He'd done maybe 3 tunes, and then I called it a night. I was bored, if I'm honest. None of his tunes were recognisable to me. Don't get me wrong, they were good. I'm not, you know, I'm not taking that away from him, that he's a talented musician, but just wasn't my thing. It wasn't what I was expecting. Apparently, after that, there should have been a second live set, which was to be announced, so I couldn't tell you who that was. And then, apparently, to finish off, if they'd have had time, was some DJs doing SIG tunes and remixes, which is what would have been my cup of tea. But as it stands with a playlist, as it were going, and the time that it were at, you know, we'd have been talking 1 o'clock before they'd have got on. So I don't think they'd have run till that time anyway. So yeah, I don't know what happened after Mark Knight had done his bit, because I was in bed asleep. So yeah, like I said, disappointed really. I think it could be an amazing event at the right venue, and hopefully, you know, the organisers will, I don't know if I'll say this, but maybe they might get some feedback, and hopefully the venue will come up as a, you know, as a negative. Really, it needs to be a better venue, no doubt about it. But yeah, other than that, there's not really much else to tell you. So yeah, 114 mile trip down to Kenilworth to get checked in at the hotel late, and then the event not what I expected. At the end of the day, I got to meet up with Mark, Matt and the Bears, and had a good chat with them. So that's all that matters, isn't it? The social aspect of it. So yeah, I know that sounds like that it all sounded bad. But you know, they're my views, they're my opinions. I can't help it, I can't change them. Can't help how I thought about it. So there you go, that is my review of Zzap Live 2023. Until the next time, see you later.